Breaking news. Our colleague, Today Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie has just posted a new video message to Instagram.
That video, of course, comes as we enter the second week in the search for her mother, Nancy Guthrie. Let's listen to Savannah's remarks in their entirety.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
That was Savannah Guthrie, our colleague, talking about her mom. If you've been watching, you know this has been a 2-week-long saga. Well, we're entering the second week right now. But that message just posted on Instagram by Savannah, calling this a nightmare, saying, we believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Savannah really asking everyone, she said, outside of Tucson, wherever you are, if you have heard something, they really, really need your help.
Absolutely. Savannah, of course, a woman of faith, thanking everyone for prayers for her siblings and her mother, but also reiterating that wherever you are, Tucson or beyond, they need information and they believe, as she said, we believe our mom is out there. She was taken and we do not know where.
Yeah, that struck me as well, saying we still don't know where she is. Let's bring in NBC News Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell. Kelly, it's emotional to hear her talking straight to the camera like that. You sense her frustration in this situation. What do we know at this hour, Kelly, about the investigation?
Well, in many ways, Savannah's words give a very clear snapshot of what we're seeing on the ground, that it is an hour of desperation, that despite extensive law enforcement work, there has been no breakthrough yet. And her appeal, this is not about alleged captors with a ransom note. She is asking for people who might be able to provide the kind of information that in an investigation can, in fact, open a window, someone knowing something. It's clear that Nancy Guthrie was removed from her home. The how, the why, still needs to be found. We know the when in terms of the hour at which there was movement at the home on that Sunday night more than a week ago, and we know when her pacemaker device no longer was attached to her cell phone. What Savannah is talking about here is certainly an appeal for the kinds of tips that can mean someone who saw something, someone who heard something, someone who's heard someone talking about these events that might prove useful. There is a $50,000 reward that has been offered by the FBI. I think as we know Savannah and our viewers know Savannah, she certainly appears very composed here. This has been a very painful, unimaginable experience, and yet she has a clear message of seeking help and of offering thanks, knowing that many people have invested their time, their expertise, and their knowledge. I've been in regular contact with the FBI. They have a very large staff that is working here. We've seen that they've done searches. We see that they are doing doing, some of the sophisticated tools that the federal agency has with respect to cell phone data, digital tools that they have, and shoe leather law enforcement going to businesses in the area looking for any video that might help to establish a vehicle, using license plate readers. All of those kinds of things. I've been in touch with the White House today. Caroline Leavitt, press secretary of the president, says he is getting regular briefings and has great interest in this. Kash Patel, the FBI director, has also been getting regular briefings. Savannah's voice in this is now the fourth time we have seen a video from the Guthrie family directly. This is the first time we've seen her solo. Her brother Cameron did a solo video earlier, and of course the siblings, Savannah, Annie, and Cameron Guthrie, have appeared together. In this instance, she is asking for information. Will that be another way for someone out there to offer something that has not come forward yet? At the same time, hard, diligent, quiet work goes on from investigators to try to look for some of those electronic or evidentiary leads. But as we understand it, there is no identified suspect. There is no key lead that law enforcement has made us aware of at this point. And that makes all of this just more confounding and heartbreaking for the Guthrie family and for the community. Being here in Tucson, you definitely get the sense that the people who are a part of Mrs. Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie's community and her everyday life, are deeply concerned, as is the public. And so this new message from Savannah may be an opportunity for someone who is hearing this to provide a tip, a clue, an insight that they can then act on and find more information.
No, absolutely, Kelly. And I'm struck that you mentioned this is the fourth time we have heard directly from the family. Savannah, of course, saying we need your help. Kelly, can you remind us where the investigation stands right now and the state of resources on the ground? Of course, there was a lot of activity this weekend. We know there was a consent search of her sister Annie's home. Set the scene for us there.
Well, it, of course, is led by the Pima County Sheriff's Department. They are the agency with jurisdiction, and they are getting the resources of the FBI, and they are considerable resources. Agents and personnel brought in from not only the Phoenix field office, which is of considerable size, there's a Tucson field office, and other agencies as well. They tell us that they are using hundreds of agents to do this work. Some of it has been in a physical sense on the properties here related to the Guthrie family. Nancy Guthrie's home, the home of Annie, Savannah's sister, daughter of Nancy, and that's a separate location. When you talk about a consent search, why that is important, the home of Annie Guthrie is the place where Nancy Guthrie was last seen for the family dinner. And so it would be a standard procedure to try to gain any information there. There has been the kind of typical legwork of looking in areas like a septic tank that was seen, looking in the immediate area, doing what's considered a grid search for any potential clues. That's a baseline of investigative work that needs to be done to not only orient the agents and officers and personnel who are here, but also to check boxes of what needs to be understood about the potential crime scene, not just the house, but wider area. And then it is about trying to get other kinds of information. From digital realms, we have these notes that have been sent to media outlets addressing the family. Again, we don't know if those notes are directly connected to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, or in fact a separate crime of opportunists who are trying to extort money and do not have any direct connection. We don't know the answer yet about whether those are credible ransom notes or whether they are a painful distraction and a separate crime. So at this point, there is a lot of work being done. Typically in investigations, when there are useful probative facts, they are not quick to make that public as they're trying to gather information. So could there be work that's proceeding that will ultimately give us an answer? We certainly hope so. But when we get a read from authorities, we just don't have those details yet. This is not the kind of case that has produced video evidence where they can say, do you know this vehicle? Do you know who was at this location? That has not developed yet. So Savannah Guthrie and her appeal to the public is asking for that kind of information. Did someone see something in the wee hours a week ago Sunday? We know that that it was about 2 in the morning when Nancy Guthrie was separated from her cell phone, which was left at the Guthrie family home.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.